Welcome to Money Depth Insights. I am the finance guide, Nell. Today, we are talking about why saving alone will never make you wealthy, and why understanding this distinction changes how people experience money, stability, and long-term security. Most people grow up being taught that saving is the foundation of financial success. Save your money. Be careful with spending. Build an emergency fund. Avoid debt. All of this advice is responsible and necessary. But what rarely gets explained is that saving, by itself, is a defensive strategy, not a wealth-building strategy. Saving protects you from financial emergencies. It creates stability. It gives you flexibility. What it does not do, on its own, is create meaningful long-term growth. The first quiet problem with relying only on saving is inflation. Inflation slowly reduces the purchasing power of money. This means the same amount of cash buys less over time, even when nothing feels obviously wrong. When money sits idle in a savings account that grows slowly, inflation quietly works against it. People often feel reassured seeing their savings balance increase. The number goes up. The account looks healthy. What they rarely ask is whether that money is actually becoming more powerful. Real wealth is not about how much money you have. It is about what that money can do for you in the future. This is where many well-intentioned savers get stuck. They do everything right. They budget carefully. They avoid unnecessary debt. They build emergency funds. Yet years later, they still feel behind. Not because they failed, but because saving alone cannot outpace the rising cost of life. Another common mistake is treating saving as the final goal rather than the starting point. People build a safety cushion and then stop. They feel complete. They feel responsible. What they do not realize is that they have built protection, not progress. Savings accounts are designed for liquidity and safety, not growth. They preserve money. They do not multiply it meaningfully. Over long periods, this difference becomes enormous. There is also a psychological trap in excessive saving. Saving feels productive. It feels safe. It feels virtuous. Investing feels uncertain. It feels risky. It feels uncomfortable. So people keep doing the thing that feels good emotionally, even when it is no longer serving their long-term interests. This is not because people are irrational. It is because humans prefer certainty over growth. We feel safer holding cash than allowing it to fluctuate. We confuse emotional comfort with financial progress. Another real-world pattern is waiting for the perfect moment to start investing. People tell themselves they will invest once they save more, earn more, or feel more confident. That moment rarely arrives. The target keeps moving. The comfort zone keeps expanding. Meanwhile, time passes. And time is the most important ingredient in wealth building. Compounding rewards time far more than perfection. Starting earlier with smaller amounts often leads to better outcomes than starting later with larger amounts. Saving delays that compounding process. Investing activates it. This does not mean investing should replace saving. It means saving and investing serve different roles. Saving is for stability. Investing is for growth. Confusing these roles creates long-term disappointment. Another overlooked issue is opportunity cost. Money that sits in cash is money that is not participating in economic growth. While markets fluctuate, businesses innovate, productivity increases, and economies expand. Long-term participation captures that growth. Staying on the sidelines does not. People often say they are waiting for the market to feel safe. The problem is that markets rarely feel safe when they are most affordable. And they often feel safest when prices are already high. Trying to avoid all risk creates a different kind of risk. The risk of stagnation. The risk of falling behind inflation. The risk of missing decades of compounding. Another mistake people make is thinking investing requires deep expertise or constant monitoring. This belief keeps many savers frozen. They assume investing is only for professionals or people who love markets. In reality, most successful long-term investors are not highly active. They are consistent. They use simple strategies. They invest regularly. They stay invested. The biggest enemy of long-term growth is not market volatility. It is emotional decision-making. It is panic selling. It is hesitation. It is overreaction. It is impatience. This is why structured investing matters. Investing a fixed amount regularly removes emotion from the process. It prevents trying to time the market. It reduces regret. It builds discipline automatically. Another real-world observation is that people underestimate how adaptable markets are. Economies evolve. Businesses adjust. Technology advances. While individual companies fail, the broader system continues to grow over time. This does not mean markets move smoothly. They do not. But long-term participation has historically rewarded patience far more than precision. Saving alone also limits leverage. Good credit, stable investments, and growing assets expand future options. They create flexibility. They allow money to work alongside your effort. Saving by itself keeps all progress tied to personal income. This is why high earners who only save often struggle just as much as low earners who only save. Income helps. Behavior matters more. Another subtle issue is that saving reinforces scarcity thinking. People become overly protective of money. They avoid risk entirely. They delay opportunity. They focus only on not losing rather than on building. Wealth building requires a different mindset. It requires controlled exposure to growth. It requires accepting temporary discomfort for long-term gain. It requires designing systems that work even when emotions fluctuate. Investing does not need to be aggressive. It does not need to be complicated. It does not need to be exciting. It needs to be consistent. It needs to be long-term. It needs to be aligned with real life. This is where many people misunderstand risk. Risk is not just market volatility. Risk is also failing to grow. Risk is also losing purchasing power. Risk is also becoming financially fragile in old age. Avoiding all visible risk creates invisible risk. Another observed pattern is that people who combine saving with investing experience less stress over time than those who only save. Their money grows. Their options expand. Their confidence increases. Their reliance on future income decreases. Saving gives you breathing room. Investing gives you forward motion. Both matter. One without the other creates imbalance. People who build wealth rarely rely on one tool. They use saving for stability. They use investing for growth. They use discipline for consistency. They use patience for compounding. The shift happens when people stop asking how to protect their money and start asking how to make it productive. This does not require chasing trends. It does not require predicting markets. It does not require taking extreme risks. It requires participation. Wealth is not built by hiding from uncertainty. It is built by designing systems that function within uncertainty. Saving alone cannot do that. Investing allows your money to grow alongside the economy rather than falling behind it. The most important insight is this: saving keeps you safe. Investing makes you free. Freedom comes from having assets that grow without constant effort. That freedom is built gradually, not dramatically. If this perspective helped you see the difference between saving and wealth building more clearly, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe this understanding can help someone in your colleague or friend circle, make sure to share it with them. Education grows when knowledge is shared. This video is created for educational purposes only. For more calm, practical, and long-term financial understanding, subscribe to Money Depth Insights. I am the Finance Guide, John Nell, and I will see you in the next session.